This video is going to walk you through the Hydrate Lab that we're going to do in class. So the first thing you're going to do is watch this video that's linked in the Google Slides. As you watch, you want to complete the data table below. Okay, it's going to cover a few of these measurements. So if we think of them in terms of like different items, it's definitely, the video will tell you the mass of the empty dish. It will also tell you the mass of the dish with the hydrate, okay? And then remember we talked about how we can determine the formula of our hydrate, which is our ultimate goal, is to determine, what is the formula of this unknown substance. So we want to heat it, and then after it's heated and all the water has been evaporated out, you'll take the mass of the dish with the anhydrous salt, and that should say after heating, not after eating. And then as you're watching the video, make sure you take some qualitative observations. So remember, qualitative is words. So you're just kind of describing what you're seeing while this lab is taking place, while the heating is taking place. Okay. In order to find the mass of just the hydrate, just the blue substance, you want to subtract B minus A, right? Because that will take out the mass of the evaporating dish and leave you with just the hydrate. Okay. Once you've collected your data, now you need to do a couple of other little calculations. You want to find the mass of the anhydrous salt. So remember, we start with our hydrate, okay, and then we add heat, and then we're left with just the anhydrous salt plus that water that was evaporated, okay? And so what we want to figure out now is the mass of this anhydrous salt, okay? So that's right here. And remember, if we look back up to our data table, right, we have the mass of our empty evaporating dish, we have the mass of our dish with the salt in it, right? So we can just say D minus A, and then we can get the mass of our anhydrous salt, okay? The salt that we're using in this lab is copper 2 whoops, that should be a 4. Just getting ahead of myself, saying 2. Copper 2 sulfate. Okay, so I'll write out the name also if you want to see it. Right, so if I want to find the moles of my salt, right, I have the mass, so we can just do a regular, mass to mole conversion. So if we say this is box number F, okay, then I can take F, we'll put it in quotes, right? And then remember, if this is mass, so this is in grams, then that means I want grams on the bottom, and that's going to be equal to mole. So where can we find the grams here, right? Remember, we just add up all of the masses of our copper sulfate, right? I want my molar mass of copper sulfate. For the mass of water, right, we kind of have to go back to our equation and think, okay, well, if we started with the whole hydrate, right, then we figured out the mass of our salt, we should be able to figure out the mass of water, right, by just subtracting. So we'll take the mass of hydrate, which we have in box letter C. I'll just do it this way. C, right? And then we can subtract the mass of our anhydrous salt. Okay. So F, G, H, I. So these are the rest of my letters. So in order to find the mass of water, I'll just take the mass of my hydrate and subtract it from the mass of my anhydrous salt, and that should leave me with just the water. Okay, and then remember, we know how to go from grams to moles, so we can just take let's see, this would be H, right? Whatever grams you get there. And then that means 1 mole. So this, what goes here in front of grams, right, is the molar mass of water. And remember, water's formula is just H2O, right? So you'll just add up the mass and insert it into the box, okay? So now we have the mass and the moles of our salt and water, okay? For numbers 1 and 3, I'm asking you to show your work. These are calculations that are like what we did in class when we were taking notes on hydrate. If you were absent or you need a refresher, if you look under the notes for 3.3, there's a video link of the hydrate notes. So you can rewatch that and re-look at the calculations on how to do that, right? We're just trying to find for the formula, right? We have our copper sulfate and we have the water. We're just looking for the number that goes there, right? So we're essentially looking for the ratio of our moles of water to our moles of copper sulfate, okay? So make sure you show your work. If you want to type it in this document, that's fine. If you want to just upload a picture of your work, like do it on paper, take a picture and then put the picture in the slideshow, you can do that on the last page, or you can, copy and paste it here, however you want to put it in there. You need to name it. So again, if you're not sure, go back and watch the notes. And then for number 3, you're just looking for the percent water. Okay, so that's just like, remember we do our percent of, or the mass of what you're looking for divided by the mass of the total, and then multiply it by 100. The last little bit is just some analysis questions, so you should be able to answer those once you're finished with the calculations, and then you'll